Hey there, folks. Sorry for the delay on this. Life has just been a little crazy, and it takes time to make these videos and to make them to where they're halfway decent. At least I hope mine are halfway decent. It's time to move on to step 4 of beginners preparedness. It's a topic most people do not like to talk about, and that's okay. You got to do it anyway. Life's full of crap we don't like to do that needs to get done. So, medical. That's the topic. It's 3 phases to medical. So, what you have to consider for your 3 phases are your prescription drugs is phase 1 or tier 1. Second tier is going to be over the counter medicines. And third tier is going to be severe trauma medicine. So, I'm going to try to make this video as short and tightly packaged as I can. If you're insulin dependent or somebody in your group is, part of that tier 1 is making sure you have power and refrigeration to keep insulin, keep it safe for long enough to weather a severe event. But that's probably one of the more severe medications. There's a lot of medications out there that you can't just quit taking. I know people who take pills that help them sleep that they've been warned, do not just stop taking these things. You need to wean off over a long period of time. Blood pressure medicines, some of those, if you just quit, then you swing, your blood pressure goes way out of control. Heart medications, all kinds of stuff. Um, so, what you need to do is you need to stockpile as many months in advance of that medicine as you can afford to do. So, here's a concept I've been able to take advantage of. Your insurance, your situation might be a little different, but the concept's the same. You just have to figure out how to maneuver your particular variables. Um, I had a meeting with our physician, and we had what was called a prescription review. Um, Basically, just like an annual review of prescription meds. So while I had my doc in the room, I explained to them that I wanted to pay cash outside of my insurance for an additional 90 days of any medicine that it's not safe for me to quit taking. And I had our doc go through all of our meds, explain this is how you wean this one. This one you can't wean. These, it's good that you're on them, but if you quit taking them, it's not the end of the world if we're talking emergency time. So we have knowledge of all of our medicines in our group, okay? From there, any medicine that needs a severe weaning period or simply can't be not taken if it can be helped at all, I had them write me a prescription for 90 days out. I also know our pharmacists. Um, so I explained to them before they ever filled that 90-day supply, hey, this is on me. I don't want my insurance company paying for a penny of this. This is excess surplus for me in case of emergency. And that way I could just pay cash for it. You can also request broad spectrum antibiotics if you have anybody in your group who's at high risk for such things. You can also request things like a steroid taper. Um, that's a situation where your doctor's got to feel that it's a good fit, and you've got to work that out with your doc. But there's ways to do that. You got to pay cash for it. I mean, you can't expect your insurance company to pay for your preparedness. That's not what they're there for. So you got to be ready to pay for it. So that is what you do on your prescription meds. You should have as far out as you can get. Currently, on all of my meds, I'm at least, I think, about 160 days out. Because there's something else you can do with most insurance companies will let you do this. They'll let your pharmacist fill your prescription at 75% use. So what that means is, okay, you get a 30-day prescription for just Tylenol, whatever. Um, at the 75% point, so about 3 weeks in, your pharmacist can fill that prescription then. So it's actually a week early before you technically need it. And they can do that month after month after month after month. So every 4 months, you basically have ended up with 1 month surplus of pills. Do that all year long. There's your what? 90 day, yeah. So a year, that would be your 90-day excess. And your insurance did pay for that, and they don't mind paying for that in many cases. Check with your pharmacist; they can tell you what your insurance will pay for. But I know a lot of insurance companies will let you do that. So that's one way to get ahead. Take a little time, but hopefully we have a little time. So that's tier one. Get your prescription or your prescription level medicines that you can't quit taking. Get that under control now. Second tier is going to be over the counter. If you live near a Dollar Tree or anything like that, you can go in and you can pick up for dirt cheap tubes of um, allergy meds. Trying to think of Benadryl creams. You can get foot creams. You can get foot powders, eye drops, soaps, all that stuff. You can just buy crap loads of that stuff little by little. Um, no time you've got a surplus. Throw it all into a big tote. Keep it excess. That stuff isn't available in the store. Think of the quality of life difference that you would have having, as funny as it is, think about something like Preparation H and that kind of crap. Tylenol, ibuprofen, bottles of alcohol, bottles of, in the brown jug, um, hydrogen peroxide, all that stuff. Um, I I found a sale on insoles for shoes, like Dr. Scholl's type insoles for shoes. They were $1 a pair for some reason. I bought like $10 worth. What was I going to spend that $10 on otherwise? Now on my medical bucket, if we ever get in a crappy place in life, people's shoes are getting worn pretty thin on the bottom. Throw some insoles in there to keep people from messing up their feet. Athlete's foot medication, baby powder, lotions, sunscreens, all that stuff. You can pick that up so cheap still, even with the screwed up inflation we've got. Just start giving up one of your Starbucks frou-frou latte things a week, and that'll buy you 7 tubes of this and that you could put in your stores. No time you'll have lots. It adds up quick. So your second tier, once you have your prescription meds fully handled, start focusing on building a good supply of over-the-counter meds. Anything that you might need, flu medicine, anything. All that stuff, it'll hold for a very long time. And then when somebody gets sick, you've got a bucket of that crap. Go to the bucket if you're still at a point in time where you can go buy more. Use what's in the bucket and replace it that week. It'll save you from a trip out to the store at least when you got a cold. It's just kind of a no-brainer. Tier 3, trauma medicine. First, get some damn training. Everybody ought to have some trauma training on some level. Even if it's just some advanced CPR, that's something. Know how to use a tourniquet. Go to someplace like refugemedical.com. I use a lot of their first aid kits. I use I've bought buckets, literally wound care buckets from them. It's 5-gallon pail, packed to the top of surgical gear, gauze, and all of the stuff for wound care. Go to someplace like that. They're HSA approved, so you can use your HSA money to buy the stuff and have some basic trauma medicine on hand. Okay, I know sometimes we're talking about extreme situations on this channel, but come on. If you're in your house and there's an earthquake or a tornado or something of that nature that pretty much any of us anywhere in the country could experience at any time, and your house kind of falls apart on top of you a little bit, cuts open your leg in a way where if you don't get that bleeding stopped, you're screwed. There's no hospitals, there's nobody coming because the emergency just happened. You should at least know how to put a damn tourniquet on yourself to save your own life, if for no other reason. Tourniquets are cheap. You can buy get real good tourniquets. Soft tees are okay. They are certified. I personally like the Cat 7s are the only ones I buy. Anything other than those two, um, they they're not tested and you can't trust your life to them. In my opinion, it's just my opinion. Get training. I'm actually looking into classes right now to see how I can fit around my ridiculous work schedule. I'm enrolled in MIT analytics courses right now, and I drive truck about 70 hours a week, 65, 70 hours a week. And I'm going to try and figure out how to fit around all that, plus all this channel and everything else, and having an actual life with my beautiful wife, and trying to figure out how to fit in classes to where I can get my paramedic certification. So if something happens, I can actually help someone. Um, but right now, it's getting very limited. But right now, you can still buy trauma medicine gear, neck braces, gauze for packing wounds, uh, the self-clotting bandages, Israeli bandages, whatever you want to call them, chest seals. You got to be a paramedic, use them, but decompression needles, all that stuff. You can still get that right now, kinda. It's getting harder month by month. I have heard, not firsthand, so take that with a grain of salt, but I have heard from people who should know that the DoD and a few others are buying up huge quantities of our medical gear because they're pretty sure we're going to be involved in a major war within the next 5 to 18 months. So um, there's actually, if you go check the allocation websites for the U.S. government, the DoD has actually written several open contracts for people to supply them with massive amounts, well and above beyond the normal preparedness for them of medical supplies. So they're expecting something in the near future. So you should be able to save your own life. Learn how to use a tourniquet. Keep one with you. For God's sake, that's easy. That's a 2-minute training. That's something that you could literally watch on YouTube and probably learn how to do pretty much proper in most instances and have a chance at saving your own damn life, if not somebody else's. Um, but tier 3, start investing in trauma medicine. Now, the reason I have these tiers the way I have them is because obviously, one, it's based off of the likelihood of need. Well, your prescription meds, you already need them. So obviously, the likelihood that you're going to need them then is 100%, right? Over the counter meds, the likelihood on those is basically 100% as well. But most over the counter meds are things that you technically could try to do without. It just really decimates your quality of living. So that's why it's tier 2, is because it's typically over the counter stuff. It's not going to be life threatening, whereas your prescriptions could be. So that brings it to tier 2, even though it's basically a 100% chance that you're going to need a lot of that stuff. And then tier 3, while when the need is there, it's elevated above tier 1 and 2. If you're not going out doing stupid crap, you might be able to avoid the need for trauma medicine, possibly. So the percentage of chance that you're going to need trauma medicine is a little lower. Depending on how you want to look at it, maybe a lot lower. So that's why that's tier 3. It's kind of like life insurance, though. You definitely want to get to it. Life insurance, it's the only insurance you buy that you're definitely sure you're not going to need until you're old and doing things naturally. But the risk of not having it, should you be wrong, is an unacceptable risk, so you're going to have it. That's trauma medicine. You don't think you're going to need it. You don't think you're going to be the one that the house fell on. But if you really think about it, the chances of you being wrong, the results of that are unacceptable, so you have to plan for it anyways. Whether you think that that's going to hit you or not, any responsible individual has to make those decisions and be smart. So, prescription meds, over-the-counter meds, trauma meds. And number one, before you get into the trauma meds, is get some training. There's training all over this country. Some of it's free, some of it's quite expensive, most of it's good. All of it will teach you something. Learn how to use your medical gear. Trust me, there is a very good chance that 24 months from now, you will thank me for that advice if you follow it. Get out there and be the good. Take care of your medical crap. Don't be a statistic. We'll see you next time.